Alright everybody, today we're going to be coming at you with the best bets for UFC 288. I'm going to give you my top 5 fights to target for the entire card and rank them from most confident to least confident. The final 2 picks are kind of mix and match, but I'll give you the fighters I think are going to win, and not only that, but the best plays to target, including over-unders, money line, or specific fighters by a specific winning method. So we're going to kick it off with the prelim headliner in the lightweight division between Drew Dober and Matt the Steamroller Frevola. I really like Drew Dober in this spot. My main pick in the fight is Drew Dober. I think he's a lot more technical, I think he's a lot more sharp, and I think that he can get into brawls, but even when he gets into a brawl, which the Steamroller is known for, he can still maintain a technical and disciplined game plan, even in the madness that may ensue. So I love Drew Dober in this spot, but if you're on the side of Matt Frevola and you think that a fighter's going to get finished either way, I think the best play for the fight is the under 2.5 rounds on DraftKings, which is marked at a minus 205. Now that's kind of a chalky line, getting an under for over minus 200. If you think that Steamroller is going to win by decision, then maybe you'd want to target the overs, but I think this fight gets finished either way. Either it's going to be Drew Dober lining up Matt Frevola for that cannon of a left hand and catching him on a counter, stepping backwards, or it's going to be the Steamroller catching Drew Dober as he tries to step into range and hurting him. We've seen both of these fighters rocked in multiple fights, but I feel like the durability is on the side of the Muay Thai practitioner and the kickboxing ace in Drew Dober. So I think Drew Dober on the money line at a minus 205, which is coincidentally the same line that the under is placed at a minus 205, are the 2 best plays to target for the fight. But if you're on the side of Drew Dober like me, and you feel like there's going to be a finish and the fight is going to go under, then I wouldn't expect Dober to lock up a submission even if he does rock the Steamroller Matt Frevola or Matt the Steamroller Frevola. I would expect him to catch him with a clean counter shot, either a check right hook or a straight left hand or an overhand left, and put the Steamroller out like we've seen so many times before. So give me Drew Dober by knockout or TKO at a minus 115 if you want to still play the Dober side but get a little bit better of a price tag. So from best to worst, I think the best play is the under 2.5, and the money line is up next for Drew Dober at minus 205 on both lines. And then the most profitable line, but if you're on the side of Matt Frevola, you probably don't want to take this, would be Drew Dober by KO or TKO against a guy who's been hurt multiple times and gotten rocked in almost every one of his fights, and even got finished against Terrence McKinney in 7 seconds, I believe. And Drew Dober did get rocked by Terrence McKinney multiple times, but then came back to finish came back to finish Terrence McKinney in that same round. So give me Drew Dober by KO or TKO at a minus 115. The next fight up is going to be Khaos Williams to defeat Rolando Bedoya by knockout, TKO, or DQ at a minus 135 on DraftKings. Khaos Williams is a huge favorite on the money line. He's like minus 400 in some sports books, and I don't agree with that. Rolando Bedoya is 14-1 overall in his professional mixed martial arts career. He's got 7 wins by way of finished, but he's never been finished himself. However, the machine has been rocked in multiple fights, been hit on the chin, and stumbled or wobbled before he even got to the UFC. And in many cases, that's okay, but going up against a man who has one-hitter-quitter ability and can put you out within the opening seconds of the first round, like Khaos Williams, I think that this is a very difficult matchup for Bedoya stylistically. I think Khaos Williams will eventually close the distance and catch Bedoya on the chin with his speedy boxing combinations, mixing up high and low level and mixing up between the straight punches and looping punches with straights, hooks, and uppercuts. I think the speed and the ability to close the pocket for Khaos Williams is going to catch Rolando Bedoya on the chin and put him out, because even though he hasn't been finished, like we said, we've seen him get rocked multiple times in his other fights. And having that issue against a power puncher and a one-hitter-quitter knockout machine in Khaos Williams, I feel like Khaos is going to bring just that. Khaos inside the octagon, catch Bedoya on the chin in round 1, and put him to sleep. So if you want to take the under 1.5, that's up to you, but I've never liked playing under 1.5s. I only like playing the under 2.5s. So give me Khaos Williams to win by KO TKO at a minus 135 for the best play to target on this fight. Up next is going to be the main event for the UFC Bantamweight Championship between the champion and Aljamain the Funkmaster Sterling defending the title against the returning Triple C Olympic gold medalist in Henry the Messenger Cejudo, or Triple C if you want to go by that nickname. Henry Cejudo coming back going up against Aljamain Sterling is the true definition of a 50-50 fight, so I'm not necessarily confident to pick either side on the money line. I feel like Cejudo is the much better fighter all around. He's going to be a lot faster, a lot more technical, and a lot better on the in and out movement and footwork and counter ability on the feet. But Sterling's never really been the best striker, but he uses a chaotic form of wacky, waveable, inflatable, arm flailing tube-man forms of strikes and uses that to close the distance to get in on your hips, take you down, and become what he wants to be known as, the human backpack of the 135-pound bantamweight division. And that's exactly what he can do here against Henry Cejudo in finding a way to get to his back, lock up the body triangle, and either flatten him out for a ground and pound TKO or grab his neck in a rear naked choke and submit him. However, the scrambling ability, the takedown defense, and the reactionary takedown attempts of Henry Cejudo, paired with being the far faster and more technical fighter on the feet, makes me think that Henry Cejudo will be known as C4 by the end of the night. But I'm not really supremely confident in either side when it comes to the money line because, like I said, it's basically the truest definition of a 50-50 fight. But what I do like is the fight to not go to a decision. I think the fight doesn't go the distance at a plus 100 is a great way to target the fight because I think that there's no way, well, I don't want to say no way because I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but I don't see this fight going to decision. I think it's either going to be Sterling catching Cejudo during a scramble and locking up a rear naked choke for a submission or a flattening out to a ground and pound TKO earlier on in the fight, or it's going to be Henry being the much faster and slicker fighter on the feet, defending the takedowns of Sterling, which we've seen done before by the likes of Petr Yan, and being able to pick him apart on the feet for a TKO finish. But my favorite play is the under 4.5 at plus 120, or the fight doesn't go to decision at a plus 100. But if you're on the side of Cejudo and you think he will be able to become C4 by the end of the night, then I also think there's a good shot at Cejudo by a TKO, KO, or DQ at a juicy plus 330. So my favorite play is fight doesn't go to decision at plus 100, followed up by under 4.5 rounds at plus 120, and then if you're on the side of Henry Cejudo and you think he will secure a finish, Cejudo by KO, TKO, or DQ at a plus 330 are the best ways to attack the main event of UFC 288. My next favorite play on the card is going to be Claudio Ribeiro being able to defeat Joseph Holmes in the UFC's middleweight division. Joseph Holmes came in 3 pounds overweight, and if it was a title fight, it would be known as 4 pounds overweight. But in the ugly man Joseph Holmes, and that's not me calling him ugly, that's his nickname, I feel like it's going to be a lamb led to the slaughter against Claudio Ribeiro. I know Ribeiro's coming off that knockout loss to Abdul Razak El Hassan, but before he got knocked out, he was landing beautiful low kicks and catching Abdul Razak El Hassan with some big shots. And this guy isn't the most technical, he's not the cleanest fighter, but he has speed and power in his punches and kicks, and I feel like he's going to be walking down Joseph Holmes from the minute the fight starts until the fight ends, which I would expect to be in the first round of the contest. I think Joseph Holmes is going to get walked down, and I think Ribeiro is going to be moving in and out of range, switching his stances, and eventually catch Joseph Holmes with a big hook, drop him, and TKO him. I was confident in this play, but a little bit worried because of Ribeiro's last performance. But seeing that Joseph Holmes missed weight and the fight is going to continue, I think that he's not taking the fight seriously. And I think he's going to be walking into a TKO loss against Claudio Ribeiro. So give me Claudio Ribeiro on the money line at a minus 175, which I would expect to go up to minus 210 by tomorrow night, considering Joseph Holmes missed the weight. But I also like attacking the by KO or TKO because all of the wins from Claudio Ribeiro, at least I believe, have come by KO or TKO, and that's at a minus 125. Minus 175 isn't a bad line, but if you think Ribeiro's going to win this fight, it's more than likely going to be inside the distance, and I don't expect him to lock up a sub against the guy who's the much better wrestler and grappler in Holmes. So give me Claudio Ribeiro on the money line at minus 175, followed by the winning method by knockout, TKO, or DQ at a minus 125 for the best ways to attack Ribeiro versus Holmes for UFC 288. Up next is going to be my final confident play for the card, but I put it at the end of the video because even though she's one of my more confident picks, with women's MMA you can never be too confident. And that's going to be the underdog in Yan Xiaonan defeating Jessica Andrade at a plus 155 underdog. Andrade is pretty much a 2-1 favorite against Xiaonan, and I do not agree with that line at all. Although she's a former strawweight champion and a former flyweight title contender, she's not the most technical fighter, but she makes up for it with her speed, pressure, and one-punch knockout power, which is pretty much a God-given gift when it comes to the women's divisions, because not many fighters have the ability to catch you with one shot and put you out. But Jessica Andrade does, and I feel like that's why she's lined at over a 2-1 favorite or close to a 2-1 favorite in most sports books, and also the level of competition. But Yan Xiaonan's going to be the longer fighter. She's going to be the taller fighter, and she's going to be the much better fleet-footed contender inside the cage on this night. She's going to have much better footwork, lateral movement, in and out movement, the ability to cut angles, and great speed with her combinations. Her straight punches are going to beat the looping punches of Jessica Andrade. And I don't necessarily see too much grappling taking place throughout the contest. I think it would more be Andrade trying to shoot in on Yan Xiaonan, take her down, and ground and pound her similar to what we saw with Carla Esparza. However, Carla Esparza could do the same exact thing to Jessica Andrade that she did to Yan Xiaonan, and I don't think that Andrade has the wrestling ability to be able to take Xiaonan down to the ground. And that means that we're in for a mostly striking matchup in the mixed martial arts contest. And I think that Xiaonan is the much better striker. She's more technical, she's faster, she has better footwork and range management that can lead Andrade to walking into a big shot and potentially being put away like we've seen in some of her more recent fights. I like Xiaonan on the money line at a plus 155, but I also like the sneaky play by Yan Xiaonan to win by knockout, TKO, or DQ at a massive plus 1,000. I could see it playing out similarly to the Jessica Andrade versus Zhang Weili title fight where Zhang Weili became the new strawweight champion, with Andrade pressuring Xiaonan back, but Xiaonan being the much better fighter off the back foot, stepping off on an angle and clanging Jessica Andrade on the jaw with a big straight shot that wobbles her and eventually allows Xiaonan to put her away. So I like Yan Xiaonan as an underdog play this weekend. I love her on the money line at a plus 155, but I also like the sneak attack of the by KO, TKO, or DQ on DraftKings at a massive plus 1,000, because with her straight punching ability, her far better technical ability on the feet, and the speed advantage, I think we could be in for the dogs to be barking in this contest.